Hello loves, hope you're well. It's Valentine's week, so I hope you're having a good one. Don't worry, we've got a mix of stories this week. Some of them are super lovely if that's what you're after. Some of them are a bit disastrous, a bit of heartbreak in there obviously, because that's what life is. So don't worry, we've got you covered either way this week. But it is Valentine's week, so I hope you're all having a good day, a good week, weekend, whenever your plans are, if you've got any. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I'm back in Wales. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to tell. I have recorded an episode from here before, actually. But yeah, I'm back in Wales. And actually, literally before I started to record, right, I just went to shut the door. And I saw this little picture of me hanging up in like this frame tree thing. I'm literally showing it on the YouTube video, but I'll post it on the Instagram as well. It's literally a picture of me smiling massive with a cup of tea and biscuits, and that's actually a representation of what I've been doing since I've been home the last few days. My parents have got custard creams here, and custard creams used to be my favourite biscuit. And I just don't buy them for myself anymore. But oh my God, I've gone through a pack of them. They are so good. Dipped into tea, they just melt really easily. The biscuit does. Oh, absolutely divine. Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, well, not much has changed, clearly, apart from my hair colour. Because I'm literally blonde here and I got a fringe. Anyway, back in Wales. I came back just to see everyone. I'm in this new job and it means I can work from home a lot more. So I've been able to come home for nearly a week, which is amazing. And the rugby was on the weekend. Wales versus England. Right, we lost. We get it. We're over it. But I did come back and I did go out for it. And the best thing happened to me on this night out. So I went out to Cardiff with my friend and I met one of you guys. And honestly, it made my week. It's the first time and probably the last. It's probably never going to happen to me again. One of you guys came up to me and just said you love the podcast. So thank you for making my night. I did feel awkward afterwards. No, it's one of those things. Like I said, it's the first time this happened to me and probably the last. So I didn't, obviously I said thank you and stuff. And then after I was like, oh, I wish I had a picture with you so that I could have posted it on my Insta. And it was obviously a bigger moment for me. So I wish I'd captured it, but I don't know. Hindsight's a wonderful thing and all that. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. So thank you. That was really fun. And didn't get drunk again, which I'm so chuffed with myself for because I was going to drive. Oh, this is so much detail, sorry. I was going to drive and then ended up having to get the train. I was like, oh my God, now I've got like no safety net to stop me drinking. And I had a few. Didn't get drunk. Woke up today, hangover free. Absolutely loving life. Really chuffed with myself. Anyway, it's Valentine's week and I love Valentine's, as you can imagine. And I do, honestly, even if I've got a boyfriend or if I'm single, because I just think it's a nice time. I know lots of people say it's gimmicky and whatever, yes, money making. I don't care, take my money. Take my money. Did I buy a pack of Love Art biscuits for my tin just for decoration in my kitchen? Yes. Have I bought multiple heart-shaped things over the years that has never been seen again? Yes. I don't care, take my money because I love it. I see Valentine's as a time where you can just show love to anyone. So it's a time you can show it to your friends, show it to yourself, show it to your partner. I just think it shouldn't be something that makes you sad if you're single on Valentine's Day because you can always show love to somebody. Like over the years, I've bought cards for my mother for Valentine's, my sister, my nephews, my friends, and also buy yourself a little treat. If you really feel like, oh, I'm not going to buy my friend a card or I'm not going to text somebody to say happy Valentine's, I love you, whatever, just buy yourself something. Buy yourself your favourite chocolate. Buy yourself some flowers. Buy yourself a vibrator. Just, indulge in the gimmick of it and just treat yourself. Buy yourself a new pair of underwear. Buy yourself quite literally anything. Buy yourself like a massive jumbo snack pack of crisps. I was just saying massive jumbo. Not sure some of you are expecting me to say crisps after that. Take massive jumbo as you will. Fill in the blank after it, but treat yourself to that. A massive jumbo skincare night. Whatever. All I'm saying is we can still celebrate Valentine's, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're broken up, whatever the situation. Also, I saw the nicest story this week. It's actually a girl that I used to work with. And hang on, I'm going to get a screenshot up. I did ask her if I could share it, and she said yes. So this girl I actually used to work with in Monsoon years ago. And then it came up on my Facebook the other day. this little message, and I just absolutely loved it. And I thought, oh, this is perfect for Valentine's, because it does show that obviously friendships are a massive form of love, probably the biggest form of love, because sometimes you don't necessarily get anything back. Not like when you're in a romantic relationship, you get so much out of that. You live with them, you get, sex from them, you get all this other stuff. But a friendship is just two people deciding every single day to just keep in touch and have you there. It's like a lot of work, really, when you think about it. Anyway, so it's a real form of love. And I saw this story and I loved it. So she said, in 1999, on holiday in Benidorm, I made a lovely friend from Liverpool who I spent most of my holiday with. We stayed in touch as pen pals and used to talk on the landline. Throwback. Lucky for us, our mums let us arrange meetups. I have such lovely memories of staying in Liverpool and Tasha coming to Cardiff. Then we were teenagers, and with the internet, we lost touch. Over the years, I've looked for her on Facebook but never found her. My sister even searched to see if she could find her. Then last night, I had a message out of the blue asking if it was me. And I was so thrilled because Tasha is in Cardiff this week and we met tonight like no time has passed at all. And there's pictures of them like when they were younger, and then pictures of them this weekend. And after all this time, they stayed in touch and met up like there was no time passed. I just thought that was the sweetest story. And it does show that if you've got a strong enough connection with somebody, I think that's like the real test, that you can meet up and that is it. Like if it feels like no time has passed, it's a sign of a good connection. I actually had this, right? Well, the opposite, with this girl I used to work with. And we used to go out all the time when we worked together. And then I moved back home to Wales for a bit. And then when I came back to London, we weren't working together anymore. But I was like, oh, we should meet up. Yeah. And we met up and we went on this night out. And knowing you both just know, like, shit, we have nothing in common now that we don't work together anymore. And it was like a mutual thing. We went out and we cut the night short. And we were like, shall we go home? And obviously it was just like a different, like sometimes a friendship works for different times of your life. So when I was friends with her, we just used to go out, get really drunk. She would always be on the pull, and me a little bit. And that was what the friendship was based on, just basically somebody to go out with. And then when we met up, we were in completely different phases of our lives. So for starters, we were like sober on this night out. She was engaged and it was just like a very different vibe. And it was like, we had a catch up and it was nice. But we were like, oh, should we go home? We were like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then we never spoke again. Not in a bad way. We didn't fall out to anything. I've still got her on social media. But we just literally never spoke after that. So, yeah, that's like a test sometimes of a good friendship, definitely. I've only ever had one pen pal. And do kids still have... Does it count as a pen pal these days with social media? Because these days you meet somebody on a night out. I've probably got people on my Facebook and my Instagram that I've met once on a night out. Case in example, that guy that asked me to look at videos of him and his missus having sex the other week that I met one time on a night out. It's like you can't count as pen pals because it's like, no, I am spoken to her for 5 years, but she's just got engaged, she just got a baby, actually she's gonna get divorced soon. Like, all these stories now. So are pen pals a thing? I like pen pals when you could write to each other. I used to have one in Holland. My parents and my family used to go to Holland every year. And I met this friend out there and we were pen pals for years, just until same thing, like you get older and you lose contact. But I've got a story actually, right? So when I was younger, I used to have this doll from Marks and Spencer, right? She was like a wool doll with dangly legs and with wool hair, and I absolutely loved her. And when I went on holidays, I took her with me. I used to sit her in the car, put her belt around. I took her with me everywhere, right? And then I go to meet Sana, her name was, shout out Sana, my Dutch pen pal, right? So I go to meet my pen pal and we're having a lovely time. And then as we leave in, my father says, oh, why don't you leave your doll with Sana now for her to keep so she can remember you by? And I was like, my doll? My precious, precious doll? But obviously didn't want to say anything, didn't want to be a brat. So I handed this doll over to Sana, who probably didn't give two shits about her. She probably played with her one time and left her. And then I had to ride home and I remember being so upset, like in silence, thinking, oh my God, my favourite doll, she's gone. And I felt this upset for years, right? obviously like joking and stuff. And my mother would be like, well, why didn't you say at the time? And I was like, because I didn't want to seem like a spoiled brat. Trying to do the right thing and breaking my heart in the process. I mean, what's new? And anyway, so I would just joke about it now over the years. And then for Christmas this year, right, my mother gave me a box and it said, Dear Santa, please deliver me to Sadie. It's been a while. So I opened the box and I literally opened it a tiny bit and I saw a bit of the hair, like the wool hair of this doll. And when I tell you, I burst into tears. Like I was screaming, crying and laughing at the same time. I didn't know what to do with myself. And my mother had found this little doll on eBay, I think. Like not exactly the same one, obviously, but the same doll. And like the same brand of doll. And she bought it for me for Christmas. Guys, it was the sweetest thing. It's probably up there with one of the most romantic things anyone's ever done for me. And it's not from a boyfriend because it was so thoughtful. And now I've got this doll and I've got her up in my flat and I see her every single day. And I just absolutely love it. It's such a thoughtful gift. Like, and I said to my mum, I was like, it's so random that you thought to do that this year. And she's like, I know, I just had the idea. But yeah, very, very sweet. And I have got to say, actually, if you're getting Valentine's gifts this year, I think my lesson is to show gratitude because sometimes we see online, like I just know there's going to be people on Instagram that are having like the best Valentine's ever and they're having all these amazing gifts and they're having Cartier and they're having those huge bouquet of roses and then you were coming home to your Tesco bouquet of roses, if anything. And sometimes I do think it's very easy to compare online. I've said stuff like this before, but I was talking to my friend about it the other day. She was upset that her boyfriend hadn't done something for her birthday, like a certain thing, whatever. And she felt upset and then she kind of had to check herself and think, okay, but look what else he does for me. But in that moment, sometimes I think it's really hard to forget all that and all you want is this big show. Exposing myself a little bit here, but I used to have an ex-boyfriend and I actually feel so guilty for this now. I don't know if I've said this story before. Probably not, because I am actually ashamed of it now that I'm older. But when I first moved to London, it's very, bougie. It's a very bougie place. There's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of show there. And I had my first boyfriend there and I had my first Valentine's there. And I do think there's something new. Sometimes you just want a massive bouquet of red roses. Yeah, that's at least all I ever really wanted on Valentine's. I was never expecting, diamonds. But a nice, huge bouquet of flowers is kind of what I wanted. And, oh, bless this guy. He bought me a plant. And if you know me, I'm never going to keep a plant alive. It's just not in my genes. I've tried. God, have I tried to keep an orchid alive. I still got no buds on it. I am keeping it because I'm told it comes back to life and all that stuff. But I've never been able to keep a plant alive. Truly, I haven't. Even to the point of I've killed other people's plants that I've lived with when I've been, meant to look after them whilst they've been away for like a week. It's just not good, right? But he bought me a plant because this particular plant was meant to help with the oxygen and the air, and at the time I was living above a Lebanese shop on the busiest main road. And honestly, if I ever pass away, well, I will one day obviously, and if the post-mortem comes back and said I had some underlying health condition of the chest, it's come from that flat. Like, there's no question about it. It was such an unhealthy flat. I loved it, but God knows what fumes I was breathing in on the daily basis there, right? So he bought me this plant because of that, because it was meant to bring oxygen and all this stuff. And then he did like lots of other really romantic things for me and very, very thoughtful things. But at the time of my life, I just wanted like the big bouquet of red flowers and I wanted to go to a fancy restaurant. I didn't care about the new vegan menu at this place. And he never ever knew that I was ungrateful. Like, God forbid he ever listens to this. He's probably like, you bitch. I never told him obviously how I felt. But I do just remember thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do with this plant? Did it help me in my oxygen? No, because it died. Don't buy me a plant. I'm sorry. If you know me, you should know that I'm incapable of keeping a plant alive. So it died anyway. So you would have been better off getting me flowers, even though he did say She was like, oh, this is good for the oxygen, and I just thought flowers will die and this is better. And I was thinking, mate, this will die sooner than the flowers probably, which it did. Anyway, my point is, at the time, I was like, oh, not grateful. And then what's funny is, as I met different people and was dating different people, I got the big bunches of flowers, but they were off people that meant absolutely nothing to me and, that I didn't love. And they weren't thoughtful gifts because we didn't mean anything to each other. And I don't know, now I look back and I think you kind of realise what's actually important. So I do think if you're having Valentine's and you get a gift that might not be 100%, don't take it to heart and just try. I mean, you're probably listening to this being like, yeah, bitch, we all do that. It's you that's got the issues. But I don't think it is just me. Because like I said, I had a conversation with my friend the other day and we were just talking about it. And I do feel like sometimes people, I've had friends I've had my mother where they get gifts and they're like, oh, but I don't even like it. And you can take it quite personally and think, well, what's he doing getting me this gift I don't like? But you just got to be really appreciative of the thought that goes behind it. And obviously, somebody wouldn't buy you something if they thought that you didn't like it. Okay, anyway, let's go into some stories this week. I asked you guys for Valentine stories, nice ones, disaster ones. And yeah, let's see what we've got. I was single on Valentine's Day, so I got dressed up, ordered a Chinese for 2 and ate both, so the delivery driver didn't think I was single on Valentine's Day. I am now happily married and get spoilt every year. We go through tough times to find out happy. Happy Valentine's. Oh, I love that. I love that she was so bothered about this delivery driver, who she's probably never going to see again or see like once in a blue moon, who probably doesn't even care. Imagine how busy he is on Valentine's doing takeaway deliveries. Probably doesn't even think about it, but we care so much about being single on Valentine's Day that you spend double the amount of money on Chinese and eat double just to make this random guy think it's all okay. It's so funny, and that is what people do, because for some reason, I think it's changing now, but for some reason Valentine's can feel like a big deal, but that is so, so funny. Just imagine sitting and eating the Chinese, like, what has my life become? I mean, ain't no shame in eating a double Chinese though. Chinese food is amazing, so you go, girl. Okay, and then going straight in with another one. I was married for 15 years. My husband was abusive, but I stayed. In 2008, I had an operation and was incapacitated for over a year. Hope I said that right. I had a feeling my husband was unfaithful, but he said I was being stupid and that he loved me. Anyway, fast forward, I recovered, and in 2009, he had a motorbike accident. Just before that, I upgraded my phone and he bought a huge TV. He had a fixator fixed to his leg. The weather was bad with heavy snow, and I would clear it all away so he could visit his friend. Friend is in inverted commas. Anyway, February the 14th, 2010, he had ordered red roses for me and a takeaway to celebrate. We had a lovely time. Come late evening, he was sitting in the recliner chair, was in the kitchen watching TV, and my phone went off. Or so I thought it was my phone. I read the message. I felt sick. It was his phone and from a woman who said she can't wait to get all hot and steamy with him next week. I sat there shaking. I stayed there for a while thinking, then went through all the messages, some he had deleted. Turns out he was having an affair whilst I was recovering from my operation. I was fuming. I walked up to him and asked him calmly if he had or was having an affair. Again, he denied it, told me he loves me. So I replied, okay, let me read you this message. The girl was graphic in what they would do to each other. Oh my God. I kicked him out that night at 1 a.m. in the morning and started divorce proceedings. He wanted 50-50 of the house. No way. And after a long drawn out battle, I got 100% and he got sod all. Oh, amazing. I love that. I sold the house, bought another house close to my girls. I am now mortgage free. He remarried and is now divorced again. That's karma. I was speaking to my friend about karma last night and he was saying, do you believe in it? And I said, yeah, I really, really do. And I do think you do bad stuff to people and it does come back to you somehow. And well, I guess that proves my theory's right. Oh, on Valentine's Day as well. I just think you get that message, your stomach would drop. Like you just know exactly how she would feel. But then for that to be on Valentine's as well, when you've had such a nice night together and you've got the flowers, guys. So red roses are not everything from somebody. That's another reminder that the gifts don't mean everything. I think you'd rather have no flowers and a faithful husband than red roses and a partner who's having an affair. Oh, I just feel like the universe lets you know, like lets you find out these things when you're meant to find out, though. Because your mind could have been thinking at that time, oh, it's Valentine's, we've had such a nice night. I'm going to forget all the thoughts I've had. I'm going to forget what it usually is like. I'm going to forget what I've been thinking, my gut feeling, because we've had such a lovely day together, wherever. And then the universe is like, no, you can't forget about your gut feeling about this guy and you need to know. But wow. Anyway, I have to tell you quickly, right? No, last week I said one of the worst messages you can receive for me is when somebody just says my name in full. Well, I said I was coming home this week, right? And my friend obviously didn't get the memo. So we were talking back and forth, and then she just messaged Sadie. And I was like, oh, this bitch, like, she trying to give me a heart attack. So anyway, I screenshot and I was like, I'm going to put this on the Love What Luck Instagram. And then as I went to do it, no, like, because we message in this WhatsApp group all the time, you kind of forget. Because I was looking at the photo, I realised what the WhatsApp icon was. And basically, my friend was messaging this guy on Tinder, right? And she was in conversation with him, and then she messaged me and my other friend in our WhatsApp group saying, he's asked me if I like BBC. Do you know what this is? And I was like, BBC? I don't know. Obviously, we're like, you can't be talking about BBC, the TV programme. Obviously, there's no way. And then we were like, well, what's it mean? I was trying to Google it. All that was coming up was like BBC programme stuff. And then I was like, it's got to be something to do with bondage. It's got to be something sexual because he's asked you if you like it and it's Tinder. So I'm like, it's got to be something sexual. So we're like, bondage, bad bondage clips, like we're trying to, and I was Googling bondage and crazy stuff was coming up, but nothing was hitting quite right. So at the time, I just happened to be in the DMs with this other guy, right? So I ask him and he's like, you're not seriously asking me this. I have to wait until you find out yourself. He's like, I cannot tell you. And he's laughing his head off. And I'm like, oh my God, how do we know what this is? Suddenly, everything kind of clicks into place. Guys, it means big black cock. So if you ever get asked whether you like BBC, that's what it means. And we were absolutely howling. I was mortified that I'd asked this guy what it meant because he was also mixed race. And I was like, oh my good Lord. But it was the funniest thing. This is going back like 3 years ago or something, like a long time ago. And I thought it was the funniest thing. And this random guy from Tinder, we should have known he was asking something like that because his picture is pretty much, his crotch comes before his face in the photo and he's got his hand like on his leg here. I don't know if that's impersonating, like trying to make out like his dick is there. I don't know. But he is the WhatsApp group icon. And then I was like, can I actually post this on my Instagram? Because it's actually a real person, but I'm going to anyway. So I've just outed him. If you ever see this guy, just that's what he wants, basically. But oh my God, absolutely cracked me up. I had to share that. Okay, I've got another Reddit. Every time I go to say this, I go to say Reddit Red. I've got another Reddit thread that I found this week. I thought Valentine's themed. But it was actually, how did you know you married the wrong person? Which I thought was juicy juice. So here we go. Here are some of the answers. And I think it's really useful to take these into account because, you know, nobody wants to marry the wrong person. I know people survive it every single day. They get divorced, they marry again. But I don't think it's on anyone's cards, is it? It's not what anybody wants. So, yeah, let's share them. On the wedding day, she spent a fortune on unnecessary things, and I knew I'd be the one fitting the bill on the credit card she ran up. So I told her no more. She said she wanted an ice cream vendor there. We already had 2 dessert bars, and I told her it was not needed. She fought me on it, but finally agreed. The wedding day comes, I'm standing with my groomsmen and in comes the ice cream truck. I knew it then, sadly. Oh, fuck. Somebody said, one day I realised I'd become a smaller version of myself. That's really sad. That's sad, and that type of thing creeps up on you, I think. A woman I was dating told me she divorced her husband because after his father died in his arms, he was very depressed and she didn't want to be around depressed people. Imagine your father died and a few months later your wife leaves you because you have not recovered from that. See, this is not through thick and thin. Some people should not say their marriage vows because literally through thick and thin, is that even a vow? I don't know. But that's pretty much what the vows are meant to be. And that's standing by somebody when they're depressed, especially after their father's passed away. Like, wow, that is awful. Oh, we were engaged and not quite married yet. When I had been on mandatory bed rest and caring for our infant son after having emergency surgery for nearly bleeding to death after a miscarriage, he came home from work and looked me dead in the face and said, "Why aren't the effing dishes done?" Called my mother the next morning and told her I was leaving. Hightailed her out of there 2 weeks later. The dishes? After I've birthed your child? Excuse me, sir. No, I'm sorry, that is the case to leave. Because firstly, don't even rack up dishes and leave them there. Wash them yourself. And secondly, I've just birthed your child. I just think after we birth a child, we need to be up there being treated like absolute queen goddesses, because the shit that birthing a child goes through, apart from the birth, you've got 9 months of carrying that around, 9 months of lifestyle changes. You can't do the things you once used to do. Your body's changing. Your nipples are bigger. You've got to take your piercings out. You're starting to swell up. You're getting itchy feet, itchy hands. You're hormonal. You become a raging bitch. It's just not okay to go through that for 9 months and then have to go through the birth, and she had a horrendous birth, and then get told why you haven't washed the dishes. I would want to pick up a dish and launch it at his head. Why haven't I done the dishes? Why haven't you given birth to a child? Why haven't you come here and picked up the child and taken it off me so that I can have some more rest? I'm on mandatory bed rest, sir. Mandatory bed rest. That's why I love COSs, because the man carries the baby. I think. I've heard something like that before. Don't fact check me. But, oh, God, men just don't never know how easy they get it. Oh, when I got her to admit she was having an affair, 10 years married, 2 kids, what a mess. She followed it up a month or 2 later, telling me she never loved a person like she does with a new partner. So welcome to divorce land population me. Or did she really need to follow up a month or 2 later and say that she's never felt like that? That's so cruel. I can't believe somebody would do that. After they've already left you and hurt you enough, they feel a need to message after. You've broken my heart into a million pieces, and now you feel the need to message me 2 months later, which, let's be honest, I'm sitting there. I've been left. I've been married for 10 years. My husband has left me, and I get a message 2 months later. And not being funny, the first thing I would think is, he wants me back. And then the message says, hey, just to let you know, I've never been happy and I've never loved someone like this. Well, you want to crush me even more? Are you trying to kill me? What's the Beyonce lyric? And what are you going to say at my funeral now that you've killed me? Honestly, people are just so heartless. Where does the love go after you break up with somebody? Because that's not okay to do that. You were with this person for 10 years. There must have been so much love there at one point. Where does that love go? What happens to it? It's just wild to me. Some situations, the love can just get cut off straight away, and it just boggles me. Mind boggles, honestly. Okay, I've got a couple more. We were together for 15 years, married 13. She said to me one day to hurt me, I don't find you physically, mentally, or sexually attractive. The top 3. What? I recoiled. This was about 4 months ago. We're still together, but I just can't get over it. I don't think you should get over it, mate. Get out of there. Physically, mentally, or sexually attractive. So what are you doing here then? Why on earth are you with me? I also can't change any of that stuff. I can change the physical, but then you're not mentally or sexually attracted to me. Can I change my mental? I don't know. Give me some more details, please. Physically, mentally, or sexually attractive. I'd be like, well, what exactly don't you like about me physically? Please be more specific if you want to try and make this work. But obviously, you shouldn't have to change for somebody. I can't believe that was 4 months ago and they're still together. Please, if you're listening to this, which you're obviously not, but get out of there. And again, I listened to a podcast on this before, and Esther Perel said this, and she said that some people, she can't believe, because she's a therapist, how honest they are with their partners, like brutally honest. And she said she's seen people look at each other and be like, I hate you, or well, basically that, I don't find you physically attractive, and say such hurtful things. There's no need for it. Like, if you don't want to be with me, please break up with me, sir. You don't have to insult me physically, mentally, sexually, and emotionally. Just leave me with a shell of myself. What am I then? What am I? Heartbroken, that's what. Get out, like. What a cheek, the audacity. Okay, last one. I've realised I married the wrong person when he didn't mention me in his speech at our wedding. He thanked everyone else, commented on the bridesmaids, talked about our daughters, but I may as well have not even been there. First night of our honeymoon, I got horrendously sick and he left me alone in our room to go and watch something on the big screen on the beach. So much for in sickness and in health. That is disgusting. If my husband doesn't say that I look like the most beautiful thing he's ever seen as a bride on my wedding day, I will be calling for divorce. How can you not give a shout out to your bride on the wedding day? That is wild. Oh, did you see that thing that went viral, or that TikTok, and they're getting married and the guy says they make up their own vows and she says her vows, which are all lovely, and then it comes to him and he goes something like, I can't remember him exactly, but something like, I can't wait to tap that ass for the rest of my life, or like something sexual and degrading like that. And literally the vicar goes, is that it? And he goes, yeah, that's it. And I think one of his friends shouts out, come on, like everyone's like, you cannot do that. And he doesn't elaborate. And she's laughing and stuff. And it went viral, which I think is 10 times worse. Imagine dealing with that, especially as her. But how disgusting is that? It's your wedding day and the bride, and it's such a big day for both of you, it should be. But I do think especially for the bride. Not all brides, obviously, but I know some people are not into it, but imagine your husband not saying anything. That's like your one chance perfectly to say a nice thing. And actually my therapist said to me before that a nice compliment or a nice affirmation can last a lifetime and you should really hold on to them. And I think a wedding speech, that nice sincere thing that somebody says about you or to you, that is something that would stick with you for the rest of your life. And yeah, divorce. I did also see, Paul Brunson, by the way. I think last week I called him Paul Branston or Bronson or something like that. I got his name wrong. He's called Paul Brunson. But he said, and loads of people say that I read, that the choice you make in choosing a partner is the most important decision you'll ever make in your life. And it can literally make you die earlier and stuff if you've got the wrong decision, if you meet the wrong person. And it's so important because you spend basically like 90% of your time with them. They affect you if you have kids with them, financially. Like there's so many different ways that a partner can affect you and your life, obviously. So it's the most important decision to make. And that's why they say you should ask. You shouldn't just go on love, and you should ask like family values, what they want, how they would want to raise kids financially, how they work with things like that, like important things, because love can only take you so far. As much as I'm a romantic, I've also become a realist in recent years. The podcast has probably helped there. And yeah, love sometimes isn't enough, guys. It can only take you so far. But can it take you 50 years in a happy marriage, 50 years down the line? No, I don't know if it can. I don't know. Can someone please let me know? I've also got a thread, a happier one to end on, which was, how do you know when you're in love? So here we go. When all the new wears off, you don't have butterflies every time they call or text you, or you know you're going to see them. You're not getting all giddy about firsts in your relationship. You're no longer both on your best behaviour. You can see their faults and let them see you as. You survived a few disagreements. You're not boning every time you catch some alone time. The sex isn't mind-blowing every single time. And after all that, they're still your favourite person. You still do things for each other for the simple joy of making them happy. The absence of the rose-coloured glasses of new lust hasn't been replaced with resentment. It has evolved into comfort, stability and security with that person. That's cute. Oh, this is a nice one. I don't know, but I'll tell you about a time when I took my girlfriend out to eat for her birthday. It was a fondue place and I felt super out of my element. She loved every second of it. I hated the food. She loved it. I hated the drinks. She loved it. I hated the atmosphere. She loved it. But I loved every second of the evening because she did. I got such great joy from her experience and her time that I had a great time too. I truly loved this woman, and me being happy because she was happy showed me that. Oh, that's the sweetest thing, the absolute sweetest thing. And I think that is one of the biggest pictures or signs of love. Do you know, I think it was last year I took my mother to the Savoy as a surprise. I've probably mentioned it on you at the time. And I felt like that. I mean, the Savoy was great for me as well. Don't get me wrong. I had a lovely time. But when I got there, all I wanted to do, I didn't want any pictures myself, which, again, if you know me, is rare because I love a photo. I was just like, you stand there, you stand there. I just wanted a photo of her everywhere. And you have it with kids as well, don't you? You just want them to be happy. And I think that's the purest sign of love, when you don't want anything back from it and you just want to see them happy. That would be like how I would know that I'm in love with somebody, when I'll go through shit that I don't want to go through. Because yeah, when you're properly in love, you've got to be very unselfish, I think, for it to work. Somebody said, I realised that my wife is the first woman I've dated that I actually missed when I wasn't with them. That was when I knew I wanted to be with her forever. And then after about a year of that feeling not changing or going away, I asked her to marry me. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, I've got a big one. Sorry guys, gone a bit deep. I'll make this the last one because some of these are quite long. But this one looks nice. They said, a lot of these answers describe infatuation. Love, you just kind of know. You're yourself. You don't use one of those fakey boyfriend-girlfriend voices when you're completely vulnerable yet comfortable. I've been married 10 years this coming December. I know how I show love and how my wife shows me love. Forgiveness, respect, compromise. Love is holding her hair when she pukes, not going to bed angry, talking and working through troubles and arguments no matter how difficult the topic. Accepting you're wrong, undying respect no matter what. You may be super mad at the other person for something entirely their fault, but never lose respect. Doing things the other person enjoys because they enjoy it, that's like what we just said, and doing it with a smile on your face. Taking risks together, accepting there are just some things the other person won't do. Compromise, forgiveness, respect. Oh, I love that. Also, now the fake boyfriend-girlfriend voices. Have you seen that clip of Kourtney Kardashian when she was with Eunice? Oh, by the way, do you remember this guy? Oh, my sweet lord. He was the hottest guy. Oh, he was so hot. That was like her favourite boyfriend. And she looked so hot with him. Oh, they looked so hot together. There's a clip of her in the back of the car and she's speaking to him and she's like that on the phone. Hello? Yeah, we're going to dinner. She's speaking in this really soft, sultry voice. And Khloe Kardashian's like, what is that voice that you're doing? Look at my voice, it's so harsh. Imagine, I'd be exhausted if I had to speak to a partner like that. Like, honestly, guys, it's so exhausting sometimes because I live in England. Sometimes I can just tell that people can't understand me, and sometimes it's so draining. And honestly, until a few years ago, I used to really make an effort to slow myself down and that. And now I'm just like, do you know what? If you can't understand me, it's you a problem, because it's just draining. In my last job, every time I had a drink, people say, you get so much more Welshy. I think I've said this before, and I'm like, no, this is my accent. I slow it down every day for you. And I'm tired. I'm so tired. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I feel like I've been talking for ages. Hope you all have a good week, guys. Valentine's week. Please come and share what you're doing. Send me a picture. We can share it on the at Insta, so make sure you're following if you're not already. And let's just share what we're doing in a very open and honest way, no judgment. If you're ordering a Chinese for two and eating it alone, let us know. Please make sure to follow me, subscribe, however you're watching. Just please make sure you're following and connected. I don't bog you down with anything other than a notification when a new episode's dropped, which is once a week, so come on, allow me that. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll speak to you next week.